2026 is going to change everything with AI, and most people are thinking, how can they get ahead? I've been in AI for nearly a decade, building it, breaking it, and seeing what really works. And I'll be calling BS on the bad advice.
And I'll be seeing how we can keep it human as we go up in the AI.
I'm James.
I'm Tanya, and welcome to Up in the AI. An interesting episode ahead, I think. We've seen out there, other people have done videos along similar lines, and it is a hot topic right now. 2026 is that prime year before the 2027 inevitable doom or bust. So we're here to talk a little bit about what are the things that people can do who are using AI in business to get ahead. Now, we've got some element questions here, which I know we're going to do our BS or no BS, and I want to jump straight into those because I think that we've got a lot to talk about. So the first one, just add AI and everything will, you'll 10x everything. So everything will just be great.
Well, I will say that this is completely truth, actually. The thing that people are not thinking, though, is you 10x shit, right? Putting AI is not going to give you 10x good stuff. It could give you 10x whatever you're putting in. You got bad data, you got bad processes, you don't have a good strategy, you're going to 10x your business into the ground.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. And so I love that, by the way, because my brain definitely jumped to that too. So within this, though, is there also a question of businesses using AI, but not actually measuring the ROI? There's no measure, but they're not putting things in place to actually see what the output is from the changes that they're putting in. Is there something in there as well?
100%. I think, wasn't I supposed to be the AI expert? But yeah. Yeah, if you're not measuring it, you don't know if it's a 10x. And that goes along with any business strategy, right? As we've rolled into 2026, I hope the business owners out there are actually looking back at the year. I know it's not in Australia, it's not the end of the financial year, but they should still be looking, how well did 2025 go? What can you measure? Did you meet your goals? Have a look at your revenue, have a look at your churn. And it's the same with AI. When you're deploying it, you should have some sort of hypothesis. Well, I think by doing this, I'm going to achieve X, Y, Z. And then you've got to have a look at it. Did it actually achieve that?
Yeah, great. And I want to ask another question, but I feel like I'm going to lead us down a track. And I think we can talk about that later. But the point is, when we come to later, we're going to be talking about breaking it down, beginner, intermediate, expert level. What is it that you can be doing, thinking to get ahead? And the thought that came to my mind was, you're talking about reviewing the year before and how important it is that business owners are actually actively thinking about what they're going to use AI for 2026. But we'll park that and we'll come back to it. And I'll ask you a question at the time. BS or no BS number 2, AI is going to replace most of your team. And that could be someone working in a company and seeing that their colleagues are getting replaced and maybe them, or a business owner thinking, AI is going to replace all my existing staff.
I think if you're a business owner, or let's just say a general service-based business, I think if you're sitting there thinking, suddenly you're going to have an army of AI agents doing the work of your 10, 20, 30, 50 staff, I think that's bullshit. But, it really does depend on what industry you're in. If your business is full of admins or VAs, yeah, maybe you might be able to replace them. We're definitely going to see some solopreneurs pushing big revenue figures because they're deploying AI agents instead of staff. I'd go mostly bullshit, but fence sitting is going to depend on your staff, your industry, and so on.
Okay. And you mentioned there around, AI agents taking over and autonomously running a business. So that was one of the BS or no BS. So I'm going to ask it anyway, because I think it's important. Agentic AI is going to run businesses autonomously in 2026. The big promise of 2025. Is that now going to happen in 2026?
No way. That is bullshit. 95% of AI initiatives failed because of this type of thinking. You're going to get this army of agents. It's influencer talk. I mean, I'm pushing my things that I do internally and for a couple of clients as hard as I can with the whole AI orchestration model, agentic agents. If 2025 taught us anything, it's that the human in the loop is so, so, so important.
Yeah, agreed. I know we're going to do this on a future episode, but I'll just leave a little teaser here. But I do think it's really... What?
I said spoiler.
Spoiler. Gotcha. Sorry. I can't see you, right? And I can't... One thing I was going to say, I know we're talking about a future episode on this, because I think it's really interesting. Is that you take a business and your organizational chart, right? You've got layers of employees doing different
Yep.
tasks with different levels of responsibility, and the general feeling is that AI is going to come and sweep in, and all your low level jobs have already been automated. But actually, interesting, like people are forgetting or ignoring what that middle layer of employee, middle managers, middle business people in your organization, and
Yep.
what's going to be happening there. So teaser, yeah, we'll be talking more in that in the future, but I think it's a really interesting thing to talk about. Okay, so we're not people are still going to be important in 2026. We're not going to go full robotic and AI driven businesses. Great. Okay. What about this one? I think this is really interesting. Centralized data. All
Yep.
businesses need a good centralized data, CRM, whatever that is. But in order to really leverage AI and be able to get the most out of it, you need to have all that data in a centralized place and clean and perfect before you get going with AI. So no BS.
I was going for truth as you started that phrase, but when you went
Mm,
perfect, yeah, you lost me.
okay.
Look, it's general practice with any business, like we were talking about measuring results. You do
Yeah.
need good, clean data. But the 80/20 rule stands pretty firmly here. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just start
Yeah.
tracking things, make sure you've got, reasonable assurances that what you're tracking is the reality of things.
Yeah.
But you don't need to track everything and not every number or whatever it is that you're tracking.
Okay. Now, anyone out there listening to this, I see this as another spit out episode that we could talk about, because you've
Mm.
mentioned not everything has to be perfect, but maybe we should do an episode on what is it that they ought to be tracking and well enough for them to be able to then use AI in the best way. So, anyone
I
like that,
reckon.
comment, and we will make it
Ah, you
happen.
beat me to it. I was going to say subscribe and comment. Is this something you want to hear? Oh,
Yeah.
you're on it today. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, we're here for the people, really, we are. And we're very nimble in the way that we decide on what we're going to record. So, we want to make sure it's valuable. Yeah, and we do.
That's a polite
So
way of saying that we come into these things thoroughly unprepared.
that's James. James talking. James, not me.
Okay, I come in unprepared. You always do come prepared. I give you that.
No, it's all good. It's how it works, right? Okay, so where are we now? I think we've covered off some really interesting points. I do want one more, which I think is, I actually would say, if I was hand on heart, I would have fallen into this category a number of times, especially when I was thinking about AI in my business.
Yep.
So AI is a one-off implementation. Tick, done. I can go off and do other things, not an ongoing capability that's to be managed and, looked after. BS or
Yeah,
no?
yeah. Most definitely is not a one-off implementation. If you're
Yeah.
saying that, BS. Can't remember now which way round you put it. But yeah, I mean, just like the 2025 highlighted that you need a human in the loop for a true initiative to be successful, you need a specialist. Whether you're hiring out to like an agency like mine, like Engine, or whether you're employing an AI specialist, you really do need that person. It's models change, data changes, needs change. It's like having somebody in house, if you've got the funds, is the
Mm.
way that you will win.
Mhm.
Assuming that one of these 25-year-olds that have got a huge audience on social media can develop an actual solution to your problem with AI and then leave you with it, that's the kind of thing that's going to run you into.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well,
I'm not
we've come
saying
to
that
the
all
end.
25-year-olds are bad at AI, just FYI.
You'll be cancelled in some. Right. Okay. That's the end of BS, no BS for this round.
Yep.
All right. So let's move on to talking a little bit, breaking it down. Okay. We mentioned that we're going to do beginner, intermediate, expert. Let's start from beginner level. If you want to get ahead of the 99% of the people using AI in business, what is a beginner ought to think about? And just define beginner. So we've got, understanding, shared understanding between everyone.
Let's go with a beginner is somebody that either has not touched AI or they just use ChatGPT once or twice in the same way that you would have used Google. All right. So if you want to get ahead, I actually don't think this has changed too much in the last year. It's really about mastering one tool. I think we've probably said this one to death. The way not to get ahead is to try and stay up with the trends and try
Yeah.
every single tool and not really master any of them.
Yeah.
Pick the one big one that you really like For the content generators and the marketeers, I would go
Mm.
Claude. If you're a bit more corporate, I'd go with your provider, Google, get Gemini, or Microsoft, use Copilot. For the majority, though, I think it's good old traditional ChatGPT because it's got everything you need. Now, I literally do corporate training sessions on how to start, whether it be for the
Okay.
founders or for the staff. And you know me, it's on brand. Like I talk about orchestrating AI,
Yeah.
but when it boils down to it, there's just a few things that you need to know. One,
Mm.
learn just how to prompt the
Mhm.
basics. RTF is what I use as a training framework. You need to know the role, the task, and the format.
Mhm.
What is the AI? As a specialist in blah blah blah, embellish it. You're the
Mhm.
best in the world.
Mhm.
Task. What is it that the AI actually needs to do? Format. How do you want to present it? That's like the basic, and you can do that with just three simple sentences. Take it to the next level. You start to show AI what good it is. Give it examples. All of the rest of the frameworks are really for probably intermediate plus. If you
Okay.
can just do that, you start to change your mindset on how you work with AI. It's not just using it like Google. How do I do this? It's actually
Yeah.
thinking, right, okay, I need to direct this technology as though I'm talking to an intern. They don't have a lot of knowledge about me. They've never done it before. They don't know about the business or what I'm trying to achieve. The more you give it,
Yeah.
especially if you are going to be doing the same tasks over and over again. This is where the whole orchestration piece comes in. I say to employees, I was like, you need to be the orchestrator of AI in your business, in your
Yeah.
department.
Yeah.
Create templates when
Yeah.
something works,
Yeah.
share it around, come that go to person, become invaluable with AI. And as a beginner, I actually don't think it takes more than learning ChatGPT, understanding what a good prompt is,
Yeah.
creating templates, OPs, and then maybe going one step further, although we might be fringing into intermediate, is projects. But I'll
Yeah.
leave that one for the intermediate one. You got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would just say I echo that. I remember a conference probably now 18 months, 2 years ago. It was looking actually in the world of HR, and they were saying that the future of resume or CV was not going to be, breaking down skills in the sense of what you can do, but actually how you can be the orchestrator of AI, like how you can teach and instruct and
Yeah,
guide AI to do functions that will support the business and its,
yeah.
goals. It was amazing. At that time, I was like scratching my head, like, wow. But now it's like, absolutely. Like, I can imagine that's being a thing that's happening right now. So 100%. I do have another question on this though,
Mm.
because I think it's on people's mind. In the beginner stage, do you think that what you've just shared, is that enough for someone to monetize? Like, could they make money out of what they're, at a beginner level in that way?
Um, I mean, if you're already operating a business or you're an employee, yeah, 100%, because just learning that will make you more efficient.
Okay.
Remember, we're all about, using AI to amplify your domain experience. We're not about like, oh, I know nothing about marketing. I'm going to use AI to put together marketing strategies that I don't know whether it'll be good or bad. We're all
Mm,
about, right, okay, I'm a marketeer. I know what good looks like. I'm going to use this to create a strategy twice as quick. So if
yeah.
you can deliver twice as much, it's still the window of opportunity is open. You can charge the same price. So you're essentially doubling your revenue. If you're an employee, you're doing it twice as fast. Of course, you're going to get ahead of the other people in the department. You're going to get that raise.
Yeah.
Okay, then I think that the actual question you wanted answered. If you're running a business,
Right.
a new AI business, is this
Mhm.
enough? You will fundamentally start building templates because that's the goal. You want to create IP for yourself. You'll see the whole concept of IP is super important when you're talking about monetizing AI.
Mhm.
So you may be able to start making money off some of the prompt templates. You may be able to use that to build an audience. It won't be huge money, but it might get you your first few dollars. Yeah.
Right. But at the very least, use that time at this stage and that level to get feedback, build credibility through exposing the outside world to what you're doing, right? It's like it's not a sandpit level, but it's get that, because that is going to be value that then will compound into money later, right?
Yep. Don't know what a sandpit level is, but
Wasn't
yeah.
it what they talk about when like you get, you can go and play in the sand pit, or is it play pit or something, where it's like you can make all the mistakes and do all the crap stuff, and it's not really going to have any real world detrimental effect. That's what
I don't
I
know.
understand sandpit is.
I think this is because you've got a toddler, just like
No,
me.
it's not. Look it up. I'm gonna have to Google this now. Or ask ChatGPT. See, the old me comes out. Okay, right. Well, let's not hang on too much. Thank
Okay.
you. And so intermediate. Just give us context of who's sitting at the intermediate level, what are they, and what can they do to get ahead of people in their level and move up to expert.
Yeah, I think intermediate is the hardest to define. So let's just assume that they are using AI in their business. They are an intermediate both in AI and their professional career. So
Mhm.
probably somebody that owns a business, if not is going to own a business in the future. They are doing all of the things that we talked about in beginner level. They are
Yep.
using AI to amplify what they do day to day, but they have not taken it to the next stage, which I will say what the next stage is.
Okay, good. Because I'm like,
Okay.
what is that next stage?
All right. So now it's like any good manager. Now is about delegation. I would
Mm,
start with the Eisenhower matrix. You want to understand what are the tasks that you're doing that are, urgent and important. How can I use AI to amplify it?
mhm,
Maybe they're important, but not necessarily urgent. Can I automate it? And so on and so forth. What are the tasks that I should not be doing at all? That's going to give a picture of your workflow. And I've got a prompt for this. It's in our community. Make money with AI and get it for free. But essentially, what I suggest is grab your calendar, grab your task list, stick it all into ChatGPT, or Claude, or Gemini with this prompt, and say, "What am I doing? Give it me in the Eisenhower matrix." So that starts to give you a plan. And you can
okay.
see very quickly that it's about planning. It's not just about doing, like in the beginner section. Now it's
Mm,
about what do I want to achieve? Back to your point about tracking.
mhm,
Um, then we're going to delegate some things. We're going to potentially, if you're a business owner, delegate the responsibility of AI to a specialist. It's great.
mhm.
As a beginner, I think everyone should get to that beginner level. 90% of people probably don't need to go too much further. Why spend all of this time learning a niche technology when you can bring a specialist in and potentially learn from that specialist, but
Yeah.
bring them in and absolutely expedite the success.
Okay.
Um, and I would say this is the start of when you start automating. Keep the
Mhm.
human in the loop, especially when you first build a workflow.
Yeah.
But yes, the simple, more monolithic activities should be done via automations. You should be clearing out all of the crap off your schedule.
Okay. So what are the outcomes someone doing that would start to notice or see? What results would they get?
Well, they're definitely going to see the removal of certain tasks
Okay.
and bottlenecks, manual labor.
Yeah.
There will be autonomy with the AI.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the high worth tasks, you're going to see a lot of amplification,
Mm.
not just faster delivery, but actually increased quality. Things like being able to use a model that you've trained for decision making, bouncing
Okay.
ideas off. And the other
Yeah.
one that I did kind of hint at is using things like projects. So it's not just beginners, they start to template the prompts that work. Intermediates, they are building GBTs and they're building projects. Maybe they have a project for every client. Maybe they have a
Mhm.
project for every product or service. They're
Yeah.
training it, they've got system instructions, and they're doing multiple chats under that project. And most
Mm.
importantly, this is how I got to where I am right now. Every single time something goes wrong, they don't just go, "Oh, come on, ChatGPT, change it." They actually go, "What made this wrong? Let me improve the baseline template so it never goes wrong again."
Yeah. It's great that you're talking as you're talking this out, because for me, if you were to come up to me on the street or just ask me generally in conversation, like, Tanya, are you a beginner, intermediate, or expert? I'd have been like, hell, I'm a beginner. Like, oh yeah, like I'm a beginner. But as you're going through and clarifying, I'm like, oh no, I do all of that with the intermediate. Like I would say, obviously there's obviously room for improvement, but it's good for people out there as well, being able to contextualize where they sit and give them some
Yeah.
clear action steps as to where they're to go, and give people the confidence that they probably know more than they think they know, right? So
Massive.
awesome. Okay. Anything else on the intermediate level before we move on to expert?
No, I think I would be rambling from this point onwards.
Don't want that. No.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's dive in. Expert level. Where am I heading to? And where are the people out there? If they're, intermediate into expert, where do they go from there if they're already experts too?
Okay, so an expert could be somebody that has done everything that I've just said and now is actually teaching people AI. An expert could be the go-to person within the business that's kind of pushing forward the AI agenda.
Yeah.
Um, or yeah, it could just be a business owner that has successfully brought in the right people into their business and have used AI to slingshot growth. So if you are an expert, I think I'd go first off, dig a lot deeper into AI orchestration. I would, even though I don't think pure autonomy is going to happen in 2026, you will start looking at agentic autonomy on certain tasks. So let's
Hmm.
just quickly clear that up. What does an AI orchestration model look like? You've got an AI orchestrator at the top, and you have a human orchestrator on top of that. The information comes in to the AI orchestrator, and the AI orchestrator analyzes it and works out what tools or what agents underneath need to be deployed in order to achieve its goal. And it could well be that you call multiple agents. If you're, let's just say you're generating content,
Yeah.
the information in is a new trend pops up or something on Reddit pops up. And
Yeah.
so, first thing to do is to analyze it. And then you might have like an ICP agent. Does this topic actually work with my target audience? And it
Yeah.
might be, yes, it does. And then you might do a research agent. You might go, well, your target audience is actually talking about this pain and this pain and this pain, and your competitors are talking about this solution, this solution, this solution, all under that same topic.
Yeah.
And then you can see where I'm going, like content writer. Then you might
Yeah.
have more monolithic automations that publish it automatically. That's your AI orchestration.
Yeah.
Um, then and maybe more importantly, expert level is about monetizing IP. This is the stage where I'm at. So what I've done, I've used Claude Code and Cursor
Yeah.
to really map out what does my agent workforce look like. But
Yeah.
it's not autonomous for me. It's actually I'm talking to it through Cursor. So I spin up my orchestrator. I go analyze this client project. Tell me where we're up to. And inside Cursor, it's got all of this context. This is my framework. This is what we do
Neat.
next. Here are the templates. I've got 22 agents in there, all for different things. I've probably gone overboard, but I can call on it like my prompt engineer or my ad specialist for
Yeah.
all of like the fringe activities that are around my core service of sales. Now, where I'm going with it, so I will monetize this by the fact that I will do work twice, three times, maybe even four times as fast.
Hmm.
And I've got a few expensive contractors that may be a lot less needed in the future. Where I envision this going, though, is that will become some sort of SaaS. Now, you know that I think that doesn't have the brightest of futures, but
Yeah.
AI powered, truly agentic SaaS, all of this stuff that I've done to create the individual prompts for every single agent, the
Right.
templates, the orchestration, like I struggle because my staff don't know how to use Claude Code and Cursor. So the first step is actually to create an internal SaaS so that my juniors can suddenly be producing content like my very expensive contractors,
Hmm.
producing strategies like my very expensive contractors. But then, of course, there comes a time where you might actually open that up to your clients. You might actually open that up to other people.
Yeah.
I don't think this is like a mass, super scalable SaaS play. It might be, but it's just about taking, what's in Cursor and just making it more user friendly. And
Yeah.
and just before you have your question, which I'm sure you've got one, I've just started playing with Claude Cowork. So when you have a moment in time where you're like, wow, what I'm doing is on the right path. So
Yeah.
I've been using Cursor and Claude Code because Claude Code is, in my opinion, the smartest model out there.
Yeah.
Cursor is just a great way to see everything and have different terminal instances, which is what Claude Code works on. Sorry for the people. Don't get bored. I've got a point, I promise. What Coworker's done is it's seen that non-developers like me, I've never written a line of code, not without AI at least, are using Claude Code. And the great thing about Claude Code is it accesses files on your computer. So Cowork is now built into the Claude app to do that. They've literally made it easier for people to do what I'm doing the hard way in Cursor. And so this is going to be the new thing. By the end of 2026, we'll see a lot more people using Claude Code. I would bet my life.
Okay. And I know that this is our next episode. If anyone's interested in this, and literally, if you like what you're hearing now, the next episode we're going to record is literally diving deep in this. And you are going to explain this to me so that I come away fully understanding it. Because right now I'm like, oh,
Right.
yeah. Oh, yeah. But we're going to really dig deep into that one, right?
Let's just say one caveat. Unless something super trending comes up and we end up releasing the Claude Code one like 3 episodes in advance, it will come. Just keep watching every single episode until you get there.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you so much. Very exciting. So, the only thing I'm not sure why I feel like saying this, but I just want to, for anyone listening, we're talking about, monetizing your IP. That IP is like your intellectual property. It's your knowledge, right? And it could be stuff that lives in your head, lived experience that you've had
Yep.
for a number of years. It could be decades. Like people I'm talking to in the community have been working in industry for like 32 years. And they're thinking about where do they take that, and they want to shift
Yep.
into their own business. That's like, I keep saying that is like, that's the gold mine, right? And so, yeah,
Yep.
okay, you may not have it documented, you may not have it laid out, but that's where like we could come in, or that's where another kind of strategic partner could come in, is like unpacking that, taking it out of your brain
Yep.
and putting it down in something that could then become something really amazing. And don't ever discount that, right? In whatever space that IP has been recorded or
Yep.
saved. So I just feel like that's a really important point to mention. I think,
I'll add to that.
yeah,
Anytime you create a framework, a methodology, like
yeah,
coaches and consultants, those educational providers, people with programs, they've got so much IP. I'm sure they know it. Some people may not realize just how much IP they're sitting on. Bring all
exactly.
of that together, train the AI on your IP, turn
Yeah,
it into a piece of software,
yeah,
and you're most definitely on to a multi-million dollar.
yeah. It's really exciting. Um, Okay. So I feel also people in our community are listening to this. I won't name names right now, but I know I'm having conversations, and there is this general feeling, like I have it still, imposter syndrome, lack of confidence. Like they feel like this is the direction they want to go in. They feel like they can be of help to others. They're kind of seeing the future, and they see that
Yeah.
in their industry, they can be of help because they're willing to take the step to actually lift themselves into the AI space, get more skills, get more awareness of what's going on. And as you said, in that expert level, become that teacher to others. And I feel like it's worth saying that, and you've mentioned it before, like we've talked, basic, intermediate, expert. Probably
Hmm.
many people, including myself, would think, oh, I'm so far off expert. And in order to be an expert, I have to have years or decades of experience in this. Well, that's not necessarily true. I think it's like, oh, how far are you ahead of your industry in terms of how far are they into the AI journey, and how many steps ahead are you? Even if you're 1 or 2 steps ahead, that's still steps ahead, and that's still real life learning that you can then pass down to those and bring them with you on that journey. So don't discount yourself. Don't feel like I need to know everything. I need to have decades of experience. I'm not credible because I don't have all of this backstory of like it's not real, right? As long as you said it before, are 2 steps ahead, you are
Yeah.
still you've still got something worth sharing, worth teaching. And because you have lived it recently and are grounded in reality, and not, oh, I did this 10 years ago and I'm a multimillionaire, but I'm going to teach you something I did 10 years ago. People much prefer to work with people who are in the trenches with them. That's what I found anyway. So take that step, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I've loved this episode for that. I think this has created so much clarity. And I'm excited to share it with our community and everyone around, to be like, listen to this one. I think it's going to really help you.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to kind of conclude. Like if somebody is going to take action, you do want to get ahead of your competitors and maybe even your colleagues within the business you're working on, I would suggest, as I always do, come join our community. Make
Yep.
money with AI. It's a school community. We
It's
do
free.
weekly. It's free. Sorry,
Yeah.
yes, it's free school community. I've had to reiterate this to a couple of people recently, actually. Just
Yeah.
because it's free does not mean that the resources aren't valuable. You know, we've talked about this. We've taken a very Hormozy approach
Yes.
to our ecosystem that we're building. We
Yep.
want to help people get through the first runs of the ladder,
Yep.
and then we want to start working with them. We
Yep.
don't want to pitch straight from the get go. We want to build value,
Yeah.
and that's what you'll get from the
And you
school
could
community.
choose to work with us or not, right? It's not about
Of
that.
course.
If you want to come
Yeah.
in, we're still willing to give you whatever we know and share that with you and help you. You don't have to work with us at the end of it, but we
Yeah.
would love to for sure.
And so the kind of things that you can get in line with how to get ahead, I've
Yep.
got my prompt archive. I've got things
Yep.
like mega prompts for podcast episodes, marketing, client research during onboarding. Like these are super valuable. Like I've got so much value in my own business and I've given it to clients. It's the
Yeah.
same. I've got my GBT archive.
Yep.
We've got Notion workbooks. But I think
Yep.
more than anything is hopping on a call with you and I, the transformation calls, because
I was going to say, yeah.
opportunity to ask the questions, right?
Yeah. Get real world help, real time, whatever's going on in your brain that you need help with at that given point. Yeah, it's super valuable. And I'm throwing you in the fire here, James, in a good way, because
Mm,
I know it's going to be amazing addition to the community, and what's going to be there is these workshop videos where you're going to do more breakdown how to's of how to use certain things, how to build certain flows. I think they're going to be amazing. So I'm throwing you in the pan.
yeah.
You're going to do it now because I've said it out loud.
Yes, I will.
Amazing. So that seems like a really good place to wrap it up. As James said, go in, take action, go in the community, take action, reach out to us, introduce yourself to the community. It's a really important step. When people understand why you're there, what's bringing you there, what's your reason to be there, and where are you stuck, that's when we can be able to really narrow down on how we can help you make that next step towards that transformation journey of you and what you're doing with AI. So do that,
Yeah.
take action.
Take action, and would really appreciate it if you could subscribe, share this to somebody that also wants to get ahead.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll see you on the next episode.
We will see you up in the AI.